Hello, my name is Cristopher Barrientos. I'm originally from Honduras, and I'm a master's degree student at Aja University in the major of International Development and Cooperation. So far, I've been in Korea for 1 year and a half, and I'm living in the city of Suwon. The program I was part is actually from Korea Tourism Organization, and Korea Tourism Organization has several programs. So my program was for America, Africa, Europe, and parts of Asia. So my main role was create content about certain places. Every month or every 3 months, we would have like family tours or individual activities that we will need to promote and create content to be shared on our own Instagram. So I noticed about this program actually because of Instagram ad. So I check it out and I passed through the interview process, like a screening process. Until then, we were asked 24 people to be part of this program. Most of these people, they were part of these programs before. They've been participating for more than 3 years. This is not the only program in Korea, and normally you get to see the announcements of recruitment every year at the beginning, because actually they last for about 10 months. Korea Tourism Organization and local governments, they have this type of programs. For example, Korea Tourism Organization and the one I participated, they have 6. They have Wow Korea, My Korea, Adventure Korea. So everyone, it's determined to be specialized in one type of region, as I mentioned before. In the meantime, Wow Korea is just for Korean. There's another one just for Japanese people. There's another one for Taiwanese and Hong Kong people. There's one for Chinese. There's one for Southeast Asia, Middle East. And also local governments, they have different programs. There's GSM, SNS supporters, there's Alimi, there's also local, for example, cities, they have this program. So for example, there's a pretty famous one called Oh My Gyeonggi, which is they promote Gyeonggi province. There's programs in Busan. I was part of a short weekend program in median city at the south of Korea. So there's tons of programs designated by locally, and others like they are way bigger that they promote like different cities, which was the case of mine. After closing for almost 3 years due to Corona, Korea is really dependent on tourism. But what happens, most of this tourism comes from abroad and people from other countries, because there are students coming, there are people who's influenced by K-pop and K-dramas that they really want to experience Korea, but they don't know what to experience. So that's the main goal for this program, is to promote these cities, these special touristic places in different languages, because they don't require you to write in English. For example, if you were from Africa, Europe, France, Italy, you write your content on your own language. So you motivate the people that's part of your community in your social media to be part of this program. For example, I was motivating Honduras, America, Mexico, which is my main targets. Also people living in Korea. That's the main purpose, to promote, so the KTO do not invest that much in promoting in other languages or creating content in other languages. They focus in Korean, while all these supporters and people in these programs, they promote in their own languages. So they create this like huge structure where you board every country, every language, without having these huge teams in the government. There's programs and specific activities that they require you to have a certain amount of followers or availability of the presence. They consider your content. It's not like, oh, I have social media, I post selfies, and I'm gonna be a K influencer or as they call it, SNS supporter. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 followers, you have like 45,000. In my program, there were people with more than 50,000 followers, 10,000 followers. I have almost 4,000 followers. So they choose dependent on your ideas, because during the interview they ask, what do you think your social media has that we can get use of? Or what's your like forte, what's your advantage? What type of content do you create, and how would you promote it in Korea? Because there's people that focus on reels and pictures. In my case, I focus on reels. So my content is mainly reels, and actually it was developed based on the program, because normally I just share pictures, but I decided to make more visually, because now the algorithm of Instagram works better for reels, and it's a better approach for different type of consumers of content. So at the end of the day, it depends on how you get advantage of your social media. They were not all in Instagram. They were SNS supporters that were created for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So they ask you what's your SNS that you get advantage of. They don't tell you, oh, you need to put this in Instagram. So you create content on your community, on your social media, and how are you as a content creator? As an international development and cooperation student, I believe it increases the inclusion of foreigners, because in Korea we're not fully included in what it is cultural heritage activities or promotion or tourism. There's a few people that are already part of the advertising industry, but that segment is really little. I think like creating these different programs not only promotes Korea's but also promotes another countries, because content creators are from different countries of the world. So at the same time, it's bilateral cooperation. So I believe these kind of programs, it's inclusive. It also helps to acknowledge that, oh, we have content, or we have people living in Korea or living abroad in certain countries that we don't have really tight relationships, that are interested in consuming our content, are interested in coming to visit our country and these special places. Because they choose not only the famous places, like you would say Busan, Seoul, Incheon, like certain places that everyone knows. They choose really specific activities for you to visit and get to know. So that type of cooperation and acknowledgement for certain citizenships, it's really nice to see as a foreigner here in the country. We did different activities. We visited different parts, because actually each trip we had family tours and individual tours. My favorite ones were the family tours, where all the foreigners, we would get together and get brought by the organization to these locations. So I had one specifically, was the Busan tour, that we get to know like the temples. It was a mix of K-pop background with history and culture, so you get to know different places. We went to Busan, we went to Mokpocheon, which was one of the places that I really want to visit, like the Purple Island. In Incheon, we visited one of the biggest hotels and resorts they have, and it's promoted even in K-dramas. So you get to experience, like, you get different topics or themes every trip you make or every promotion you do. So it's quite you cannot decide. You get one little activity from each of the trips, but I would say personally my favorite one was Busan, and was such a nice experience to be shared with all my friends. Like, to be a participant, you require a lot of commitment, because you need to invest time. Because normally there's trips that you need to be on a Friday. As some people, they have works, it's kind of complicated to be part. That's why during the recruitment process, they ask you how much availability you have for this program, because it's an investment. One of these trips requires a lot of money from the government, so you need to make sure that you're participating on every activity. I'm not gonna say like everyone, but like the 25 week arrive to the program the first day, which was here at the National Museum of Korea, the open ceremony. We were just left like 18 or 17 out of those 25. So it requires a lot of commitment. The bad problem is like they have team activities or individual activities that you have deadlines. What happens when you're a student or you're working, you cannot commit to that certain type of time, or if there's team missions, you cannot meet up one day, specific day, because everyone has something to do. So it requires a lot of time management that can be complicated for certain people. As the closing event, we see data, we reached 2 million people during the fan tours, which is a lot of people from different nationalities and different countries outside and inside Korea. We got 2 million interactions during the whole 8 months that we participate, and somehow it's not like as a big influence for small countries that you say, oh, 25 people is going to come from a country to visit Korea, but at least you teach something. You make them interested. It's not, Korea do not just want to make them want to travel to Korea, but more like acknowledge that Korea is more than K-pop, K-dramas. They have forests, they have national parks, they have beaches, like they have a whole complement of places that you can go. That's their main goal, to make foreigners acknowledge Korea more than K-pop and K-dramas. So I do believe like at a certain point you reach this goal, and it's due to the hard work of all these supporters throughout the country, because there's people from Busan, Daegu, Daejeon, Suwon, Incheon, Seoul that participate in this kind of programs. as more K-influencers are reaching higher numbers of followers, of data, of participants or interactions, they get to cover more roles in like Korean society and entertainment, because now there's shows made for foreigners, from foreigners here in Korea. There's programs that now they bring more foreigners compared to like 5 years ago, and there's more space for acknowledgement. Like there's not just people from America, Germany on TV. There's people from Canada, there's people from Mexico, from Madagascar, from Nigeria, there's people from South America. So it's a bright future for content creators to have this space in the entertainment industry as we get closer for more of globalization due to social media. As a content creator in Korea, I believe that I want to share more. Like one of the gifts they gave you, the closest memory was this interactive map when you scratch places where you been. And I noticed that in my mind I was like, oh, I visited 24 cities so far in Korea. But when I saw the map, like Korea has more than 1,000 places you can visit. So I want to share more than just K-pop and K-dramas. I want to share culture, daily life, museums which I love. So I want to share with my followers and the persons that like my content and the persons that reach my content. So that's my main goal, to share like that someday or someone can also experience this if you have ready for it and you really want it. There's no perfect content. There's like the quality can sometimes vary if you have a really super smart phone or a really new camera, but everything is on the eye of the beholder. It's like what you really want to share. For example, I have a arts and film background, so I think my content is a little bit more technically appealing for me, for the people who knows that this kind of concepts. But there's no specific knowledge you gotta do. Like you can learn certain things like how to do basic editing, how to do color correction for pictures and videos, how to move your camera, how the camera or the main points in a frame can be more attractive to the eye. So that things you can learn. Like YouTube has tons of video, Google is a perfect teacher, books as well. So there's no perfect content creator. It's perfect for you as a supporter. If you like it, it works, and if your followers and your community likes it, it's perfect. I would say join programs. There's several programs in Korea. Don't be afraid, my content is not perfect, or my pictures are not beautiful. If you have people watching your content, there's always a chance and opportunity to share with someone else. So don't give up. Korea is opening new opportunities every year, and more opportunities are able for foreigners here in the country. So it's a chance to stay alert. Sometimes we complain about ads, but ads in Instagram, which is my case, opened me the doors for this world that I didn't knew, and that I hope I'll be part in the next years while living in Korea. Bye. Follow me on Chris Zoom on Instagram, and you can find me on YouTube as well.